Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 4 replays in the Entry Era 3 Eastern Alliance Tech Tree Medium Tank, the T-64BV. Now if you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the T-64BV. This is the vehicle that is the end of the mini branch for the T-64 that then leads on to the T-80U, and then the Object 640 Black Eagle at the end of it. The T-64 mini branch that's happened is basically a way to skip the T-80s if you didn't really want to do the T-80s or something like that. And it really is down to you whether you think it's worth it. I think the T-80s actually aren't that bad, except for the fact that they get set on fire all the time. The T-80s in Era 2 especially aren't that bad. The T-80BV, which is the alternate tank to this, is really terrible. But to be honest, the T-64BV, when stock, was horrific. It was a horrible grind, and I really hated playing it. And then it was a complete flip. When I got it fully upgraded, it really wasn't that bad. Now, is it a great Era 3 vehicle? No, it's not. It's one, again, that once you've played it, you'll never play it again, because it's just everything else after it is way better. And most vehicles stomp you completely, but that's an Entry Era 3 vehicle problem in general, to be fair. So, the T-64BV, which you're going to see 2 replays stock and 2 replays fully upgraded. This tank has, while stock, a 66.55 km/h top speed, a 22.55 km/h reverse speed, 700 horsepower engine, which is 16.51 horsepower per ton ratio. You've got ground resistances that don't hold the tank back whatsoever as well, because they're really, really good. But generally, stock, this tank feels extremely sluggish and slow for an Era 3 vehicle, and it's really quite annoying with the mobility, how slow it feels to get going, to get into the fight at times in this T-64BV, so that's a bit of pain while stock. Changes completely when you get it fully upgraded though. It's one of the quality of life things that's nice when you do get upgraded on this tank. 15% internal fire chances in the middle of fire chances, and this vehicle gets set on fire all the time. That was the pain I've had with it, is that generally 80 GMs hit you, you get set on fire. Higher caliber rounds like 140mm guns hit you, they set you on fire. It's a bit of pain for the T-64BV. You got 52.8 degrees a second track traverse on this vehicle, which means it does turn decently quickly on its tracks. With a 598 meters of view range as well, it means you can spot for yourself quite nicely here in the T-64BV. You got 54.82 degrees a second on the turret traverse, which is faster than the track, so that's something that is quite nice, but we've had to help it to get there. 0.76 accuracy during rotation, with the 0.96 accuracy during movement is really, really good, especially for saying we're not running a gun stabilizer. It means the aim circle doesn't bloom out that much at all, and you'll hit quite a few shots on the move quite easily. And you've also got a 0.21 accuracy at 100 meters as well, which is really accurate, as is most guns in Era 3. A 1.9 second aim time means that it doesn't take too long to aim the gun in if it does bloom out, and that's not that bad at all either. And by the way, that first replay was basically my general experience for the vehicle while stock. Same outcome for the game's defeat, and then that kind of game, which is just generally a bit frustrating. And that was just my general experience of the T-64B while stock. Whereas this is, it doesn't mean you can't do anything in this tank while stock, which is what this replay is all about. It's just that this tank is pure pain while stock. It is what it is. But anyway, yeah, you've got a 1.9 second aim time, which means that it doesn't take long to get the gun aimed in, and it doesn't bloom out much at all anyway, so you don't really feel the 1.9 second aim time. And then the one thing that is a pain for this vehicle, while fully upgraded and while stock as well, is the fact that this tank has, well, it's a typically happy tank as a Soviet vehicle with 6 degrees of gun depression, which is not terrible 5 degrees, but it's still not good, and it means that you really have to pick and choose the ridgeline that you're going to take or use to be able to get the gun down on target. But the thing is, this tank kind of suffers from performance issues as well. It really struggles to get it up, and that is the fact that it's got 8 degrees of elevation. And yeah, the 8 degrees of elevation is really painful. There is so many situations where you really struggle to get this gun aimed up on target, and you get the smallest ridgeline in the universe and go, oh, this should be fine. Wait, I can't get the gun up. What is this? And it's really, really frustrating on this T-64BV, so do be careful of that when you're on ridgelines, that you're not going to be able to look up very often. You've got a 5.55 second reload on this stock gun, which is 5.9k DPM, nearly 6k DPM, which is still pretty good DPM in Era 3, but there's quite a few Era 3 vehicles that are going towards 7k. or have 6.5, well, 6 to 6.5k damage and do 700 alpha and have 900 pen, you know, that sort of thing. So, yeah, it's still decent DPM, but most things can compete with you in that DPM regard quite easily anyway. You got 558 pen on the standard APFS DS, which is a bit low for Era 3 and can make it a royal pain to pen things at times. 697 penetration on the premium APFS DS, which, fantastic. You'll pen absolutely everything with that. And to be honest, to make your life a bit easier in this vehicle, I would probably say just 5 full gold. 5 full 697 pen premium APFS DS, and then you won't really struggle with pen, and that will make the grind a little bit nicer, because like I say, the grind on this vehicle is a bit of pain. It's just not very good while stock. You also have 650 pen on the ATGM that you get, because this tank does have barrel-fired ATGMs, which can be a very nice thing to use at the start of a battle, where you get to that opening position, dish out a 1100 damage hit or two, and then load up the standard APFS DS again and get going with the normal rounds. Because, yeah, it does take a little bit longer than normal to get the ATGMs in, but it does actually load the barrel-fired ATGMs fairly decently quickly, so you could take more if you wanted to. It's just that with the way that Era 3 can be at times, with how Wolfpacky and close quarters it is, those ATGMs can lose their viability quite quickly, because you have a 100 meter minimum arming distance for this vehicle's ATGMs, which means that if you're within 100 meters of your target, your ATGMs are going to do absolutely nothing. So, or not absolutely nothing, they do a reduced amount of damage, which is basically nothing for the ATGM, and you may as well fire the standard round. You get my point. And those have 375 meters a second shot velocity, so they do travel fairly quickly as well for an ATGM, which is quite nice for this gun. And you've got 1715 meters a second shell velocity on the standard APFS DS and 1700 meters a second shell velocity on the premium APFS DS, which is fantastic velocity, same as it is on most vehicles in Era 3 on the standard and premium rounds. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment to be able to get those kinds of statistics on this vehicle while stock, and then the fully upgraded stats you're going to hear in a bit? Well, I run exactly the same crew that I ran on the rest of the line, with a slightly different lineup for the equipment. So on the crew and equipment skills, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Steady Aim, Snapshot, Run and Gun, Rapid Aim, Track Mechanic, Deadeye, with the Advanced Loader, the Traction System, and Vents. Vents to be able to get the best out of everything on this vehicle, get the best aim time, best accuracy, the best accuracy during rotation and movement, the best DPM, just the best everything I can possibly get out of this vehicle, with the traction system to get up to 66 kilometers an hour top speed, just to give it that extra top speed on this tank, as it is a little bit slow if you don't, as you naturally have only a 60 kilometer an hour top speed. The advanced loader to get the best DPM out of it as possible. All 3 gun perks to make sure the gun is as good as it can be without having to run the gun stabilizer. Rapid aim to make the turret traverse better so it is faster than the tracks. And the Deadeye for the memes, just to increase my chance of doing module damage by 6%, which is a skill that you can definitely drop for anything else if you really wanted to. You could run something like clutch braking to make the track traverse better. You could run the armor angling to reduce the amount of damage coming to the tank. It's really down to you and how you want to play the vehicle. So here we are with this second replay, and this second replay in the T-64BV while stock. We are on Nominee Nom, and we've managed to use that position at B7 really effectively to keep poking over and shooting the people that were sitting on their ridge lines and punishing the people for being too aggressive that were fighting in the middle area where the cap was, as we had early side shots into them. We failed the early ATGMs in this game as well. We didn't get any damage for those, as both ended up just hitting places that we were definitely not going to pen on people. And so we managed to do most of this damage just by getting the shots off. At times, this stock gun also felt derpier than it should have done. I mean, 0.21 accuracy is extremely accurate, but yet this gun likes a good miss. And you saw with some of the shots, even on the move, with how big the aim circle was, which was non-existent, it still misses shots. And you sit there going, okay. Again, a complete flip to when you get to the top gun, and when you get the top 125mm gun, that thing's fantastic and hits most shots you ever want to take, which is lovely. Yeah, this tank is one of those Marmite, Jekyll and Hyde vehicles where when you are stock, you start playing it, you go, oh my lord, this thing's terrible. And then think, oh boy, what am I in for with this grind? And then you get it fully upgraded and go, yeah, no, this ain't too bad actually, when you get it fully upgraded. I'm not doing too badly, which is a bit unusual for Cold War, because most of the time in Cold War, whether it's stock or fully upgraded, the difference between being stock and fully upgraded is very, very minimal. And so, yeah, you don't really notice as much of a difference when you do get fully upgraded. It's usually the reloads are tiny bit better, the accuracies are tiny bit better, and the mobility's minorly different. In fact, quite a few, well, if you're looking at this line, quite a few of them don't even have that much of a difference in their mobility. So, yeah, this tank is definitely a Jekyll and Hyde one in that regard. But we finished that second game with 3 kills, 7.6k damage, 6.2k assistance, the ace tanker, the Confederate, with the 1797 base XP. Really nice game with the T-64BV there, while stock. Showing off you can still do stuff while stock in this tank. It's just the first game is more indicative of what happened every time I played this vehicle while stock, where you manage to get a bit of damage here and there, team crumbles and you just lose, and you can't deal with being under pressure from any other tank because they wreck your armor and they fight back harder than you do, pretty much. But now we're fully upgraded. Like I say, this tank is a completely different animal when fully upgraded. It was a lot more enjoyable. I felt like I can compete a little bit better. Naturally, though, I'm still an entry Era 3 vehicle, and to be honest, most vehicles still absolutely poo all over you, and you just got to kind of get through it to get to the next tank. But at least I feel like I can compete and actually do something, which was paying well stock that I didn't really feel as comfortable in being able to do stuff. Well, stock. So, with the T-64BV fully upgraded, we've now got a 76.34 km/h top speed. So we've gained 10 km/h on the top speed with the top engine, 27.06 km/h reverse speed, which means it reverses a lot quicker as well. You've got an 850 horsepower engine, which is 20.05 horsepower per ton ratio, so the horsepower per ton ratio is a lot better as well, meaning you hit the top speed really easily, and this tank is extremely mobile, like most other Era 3s, and you actually feel like an Era 3 at this point, not just an underpowered Era 2 in Era 3, you know what I mean? That's the way it felt while stock. We've got 12% internal fire chance, which feels like a lie, once again, feels like a lie. This tank likes setting on fire all the time, so yeah, pain. Ground resistances are great, don't hold the tank back whatsoever, just like every other tank in Cold War generally. You got 55 degrees a second on the hull rotation speed, which means this tank turns very, very quickly on its tracks, which is great. 620 meters of view range means this tank can spot for itself fantastically. 57.31 degrees a second on the turret rotation speed means the turret is still a little bit faster than the tracks, and it turns very, very quick at 57 degrees a second, which is lovely. 0.58 accuracy during rotation, 0.76 accuracy during movement. Hell of a lot better. And the aim circle just never moves. It's pretty much always ready to go. You're always ready to snap shots. You hit most shots on the move, which is very Era 3 of this tank. Pretty much all Era 3s, or most Era 3s, can do that, and now you actually feel like you can do it in this vehicle, which is definitely quite good for it. You've got 0.19 accuracy at 100 meters as well, which means the gun is also super duper accurate, but again, not uncommon of most Era 3 vehicles. 1.81 second aim time means that even though if the aim circle blooms out that little bit, which you're seeing here, it basically doesn't bloom out. It doesn't take long to get it aimed in, and you're ready to go snap the shot left, right, and center, like most Era 3 guns. 5.33 second reload is 6.1, nearly 6.2k DPM. Now, the 6.2k DPM is, again, pretty nice. It means you can compete with most of the vehicles with the DPM, and you don't feel outgunned in that regard most of the time, which is definitely nice for the T-64BV. And on this Top Gun, you've also now got 606 pen on the standard round, which is a lot better, and again, you will go through most vehicles with 606 pen, which is great. And if you go up to the 697 pen of premium APFS DS pen, just like it was on the stock gun, you will go through most vehicles, and that's just what you want from your T-64BV. 700mm of penetration on the ATGM as well, so it's got 50 more pen on the ATGM for 1,100 damage, with 375 meters a second shell velocity on that ATGM. Again, it travels pretty damn fast, and your minimum arming distance is still 100 meters. So make sure you are outside of 100 meters to be able to dish out the damage with those ATGMs. And you've got 1,700 meters a second shell velocity on both APFS DS rounds, which means the velocity, again, just like the stock gun, just like most guns in Cold War, Era 3 at least, is fantastic. So, this third replay here, while fully upgraded, we are on Nebelberg, and we're up to 5.4k damage with 2.6k assistance, and we're pressuring one of the last 3 tanks alive, Mr. BMP-3 over here. So, we got a shot on the move, and like I say, this gun is absolutely fantastic, just like most Era 3 guns. You can hit most shots on the move really easily, snapshots really easily, and as long as you can keep the gun firing, you will be doing damage. But here's where we're going to see the performance issues, and that is we know where that Black Eagle is. I just can't get the gun. I just can't get the gun up. I just can't get the gun up on target, and we're trying to get down to flatter ground, and then finally get the gun aimed up towards the 640. But he's in a position that I can't shoot him. But thankfully, he does decide, yeah, you know what? I'm going to drive out and give you an easier shot. So we put a shot in that tracks him, finish him off with the next shot. We're up to 6.6k damage, 2.8k assistance with only 1 tank left on enemy team. It is a TD who we have no real clue where he is. So we're just going to maneuver ourselves into the middle, see if we can find him. And in fact, the Weasel Toe gets shut down by the Weasel Toe. We'll finish the game with a decent total there for the T-64BV. Finished with the epic victory, 3 kills, 6.6k, nearly 6.7k damage, 2.8k assistance. The first class with the 1498 base XP. Decent game there for the T-64BV in Era 3. And like I say, it's a complete flip when you go from fully upgraded to, well, from stock to fully upgraded. This tank goes from, oh my lord, this is horrible, to, yeah, it's alright. And that's what it is. It's not spectacular. It's not bad. It's just meh. You know, it's just, yeah, it's a tank. I can cope. And to be honest, it's very much like playing any of the other Eastern Alliance Era 3s that I've played so far, which is like the T-64BV, like the T-80U 640 Black Eagle, like the Moderna, or the Vilk, or the PT-91, or whatever it is, you know. A Twadi, that's the name for that one. It just feels exactly the same as those tanks, and feels just as capable as those tanks, you know. So, when you get this thing fully upgraded, do I think this thing's better than the T-80BV? Yeah. Yeah, the T-80BV is pretty horrible, if we're honest. And I think this is probably better than the T-80BV when it's fully upgraded. When it's stock, no, God no, it's horrible. It's just a horrible grind. But yeah, there you go. So, we're on to the 4th and final replay, which is actually the best tank I've had in the game. No, brain. That's not the way it's supposed to go. The best game I've had in the tank. There you go. The best game I've had in the tank. And we've started off the game with 2 ATGMs so far. Going for the turret ring with that ATGM. Probably could have picked a better shot to go for there with the final ATGM there, but hey-ho. And the reason I only take 3 ATGMs, by the way, in this vehicle is because ammo problems, for the most part. And that is, again, I don't feel like I'm ever going to fire 6 ATGMs in the T-64BV. And with how fast you fire, you run out of ammo pretty quickly. And especially in the games that go a little bit longer, you realise, ooh, I'm having a bit of an ammo issue. And I'm running quite low. Yeah, so I don't want to waste time having 3 extra ATGMs. I'd rather have 3 extra APFSDS rounds where I'm more likely to have the utility of using those rounds more often. So we're up to 3.7k damage with 3.1k assistance because we've managed to get tracking assist, because just like most other Era 3s, what you want to be doing all the time is going for tracking shots, because if you can track someone, great times. Now, I was going to go for the tracking shot in that one, but as I aimed lower, I ended up getting nudged, and that meant I shot the 490 Topol, no, 490 Topol? The 490 Belka, sorry. Topol? Where did I get Topol from? Well, the Topol is a Object 490, so this the Object 490 Belka, that's what I meant. I went for the tracking shot on the Object 490 Belka, but because I got sort of slammed into, I ended up shooting the back end and hitting him and penning him anyway, so at least I didn't miss out on the shot of damage. But that's because I stopped directly in front of someone, which was always going to happen, but there you go. So we went for the tracking shot on the Asario, but, well, he popped smoke, and also the shot didn't go anywhere near. So instead, I'm just going to go pressure the T-80BV that's directly in front of us, because with 606 pen, I know I'm going to go through this BV most of the time if I hit him in the side of the turret, in the upper plate, and I'm hoping that possibly I'll set him on fire as well, because those things set on fire all the time. And in fact, yeah, we shot him in the rear, set him on fire, but the Thumper finished him off before he could burn out. So, yeah, the T-80BV is another one that is terrible for setting on fire. But there you go. We're up to 6,063 damage with 3,100 assistance, and someone starts capping. So I look towards where our cap area is, because you can see it from here. Couldn't see a tank, so I decided to instead go for the Type 59D. And Mr. Bradley appears. So you know what? We're going to put some shots into the Bradley so that we don't have an ATGM come flying into us at some point. But I decided, okay, you know what? No, I'm not going to focus on the Bradley, especially with him popping smoke. I want to try and pick up the kill on the 59D. But he ends up getting finished off. We bounce off of the Thumper's side, which is sad. Going for the tracking shot on the 477A there. I went for the tracking shot into the rear because I thought I might be able to pen and track him. But it didn't quite work out like that. We only actually ended up penning him. But we tracked him that time in the hope that maybe some other people would damage him. But it didn't quite work out once again. And with him getting surrounded now, we should hopefully be able to pick up the tracking shot or another pen if we can. But we pick up another pen, and I decide, okay, that guy's just going to get killed. There's no point focusing on him anymore. What's the next tank that I want to go after? And Mr. Bradley, well, as with all the Bradleys in this game, if I get close up to it, it's dead. And to be honest, it will never outrun me, ever. It's too slow, it's too fat, I'll hit it every shot on the move, and we'll get rid of it. And because we're too close to it, it'll never get his ATGMs off. So we try and RBRT the shot on the move to kill him, and we hit the ridge line, which we shouldn't do. We try to hit him while jumping off a cliff. It doesn't work. We try to ram him. We miss. Well played, me. Great series of events there. You did well. Gold star. Yeah, that was dreadful. But then we still got the kill. We picked it up. That's the main thing. And we're up to 9,949 damage with 3.8k assistance. And there's the one tank left. It's Mr. AMX-32. But he's gone and met Mr. 477A Malo. And an AMX-32 does not stand a chance against Mr. Poor Malo. And, well, he ends up getting finished off by the Marder A3. We finished the game with a really good total there for the T-64BV. The best game I've actually had in that tank, with the victory, 1 kill, 9.9k damage, nearly 10k damage, about nearly 13-14k combined. Solid game there with the Ace Tanker and the Confederate. So yeah, that's the T-64BV. That's the end of this T-64 mini branch, and it leads on to the T-80U and the Object 640, which I've already got videos on, which, to be honest, the T-80U and the Object 640 are also pretty damn solid Era 3 tanks. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!